Tariffs were a weapon to suppress each other, but now they are turning into a lever for negotiations. Attention is being paid to whether the trade war between the U.S. and China can finally reach a turning point.
Recently, the United States and China have been exchanging gestures that signal a change in the tariff conflict that has continued for years. First, former U.S. President Donald Trump. In a recent interview, he said, "We may adjust tariffs on China and a decision may be made in 2 to 3 weeks." This statement is not just lip service, but is interpreted as an official position suggesting a reduction in tariffs. Former President Trump has been leading a tough trade war, imposing tariffs of up to 145% on Chinese products. But this time, he has indicated his intention to adjust his own policies, saying, "That's a very high number." And China seems to be quietly responding to this change in U.S. attitude. Although there has been no official announcement, China is known to have recently taken measures to withdraw tariffs on some U.S. semiconductor products. According to CNN and Chinese economic media outlets, such as Beijing, tariffs on 8 types of U.S. semiconductors, excluding memory chips, have been exempted, and refunds are also possible for tariffs already paid. Import agents reported that they received such notifications during the customs clearance process. In addition, there were reports that tariff exemptions are being considered for medical equipment, industrial chemicals, and raw materials such as ethane. China is the world's largest producer of plastics, and some factories depend on U.S. ethane and advanced medical equipment, such as MRIs made by U.S. companies such as GE Healthcare, are essential products for Chinese hospitals. Chinese authorities are also discussing tariff exemptions for aircraft leases, which appears to be a measure to reduce the burden on airlines that do not directly own aircraft but lease them. Goldman Sachs went a step further and predicted that tariffs on liquefied natural gas, LPG, could also be included in the exemption list in the future. Petrochemical raw materials were already exempted from regulation in 2018, so it is analyzed that they can be quickly prioritized this time as well. The reason why both countries are moving to exempt or withdraw tariffs is clear. It is more than a simple diplomatic gesture, but an acknowledgement of the reality that their economies are deeply interconnected. China also still relies on some key industries for U.S. products, and the U.S. cannot help but consider the impact on domestic prices. If the trade conflict with China becomes prolonged, the two countries once engaged in a chicken game of trade war, exchanging tariff rates exceeding 100%. However, they are now gradually easing tensions and creating room for compromise according to each other's needs.
The stage of history is opening again. Tinian Island is no longer a legacy of past wars, but is emerging as a front line in the coming U.S.-China confrontation.